Well, this is another day at the American Flyer Worldwide video view. It's kind of dreary out here today. It looks like the sun never came up. They say, what goes on when the sun goes down? Has anybody heard that term before? It's actually the name of a song by Ronnie Millsap. What goes on when the sun goes down? The sun is not up now. But anyways, it's nice and balmy for a January day. It should be like 30 degrees, 35 degrees here in central New Jersey. However, it's about 60 right now. So today, I'd like to give you a tour of the Train Club's facility where I hang out with. I'll give you a little narrative, a little bit about myself, a little bit more about the Train Club, and actually a little bit more about the train hobby. It is a worldwide phenomenon, and I will explain more about that later. We're in the woods now. The Train Club is in the woods, and we can actually walk there, but it'll take some time. Not that I'm afraid of walking. I've been walking a lot recently. I lost quite a bit of weight. I have a running partner in Manalapan, New Jersey. She's keeping me in shape. Believe it or not, I'm a lot older than she is, but she's 55 years old, but she doesn't look her age. And actually, it's ironic. Her birthday's in February, and I haven't another friend I used to know in Texas with the same exact birthday. But anyways, her running partner keeps me in shape. So she introduced me to the steps on a cell phone. And back in the September, end of August, I tell you, I thought I was doing real well. She kept me going. I did 500,000 steps. That's 500,000 steps in 1 month. So I compare notes with her, and she said, "Oh, that's pretty good." I said, "What do you mean pretty good? I think it's great." Well, guess what? She did 1,000,000 steps. She showed me on her cell phone 1,000,000 steps. How's that possible? But she did. Anyways, not afraid of walking, but we're going to take a drive down to the museum. It's a historical museum built in the 1925 or 1922, somewhere around that. And right now it's housing the Lakewood Historical Museum, and we share the museum with them with our club. They're a not-for-profit 501 or 503c, one of those designators, and we are the same. We rely on donations, membership dues, and grants. So anyways, stay tuned. Here we go. Well, this is the way to the museum and the train club. It's in the middle of nowhere. I don't know why there's one building in the middle of the woods. And anyways, you gotta be careful driving here. Most of our club meetings are at night, and there's no lights here, no street lights, and it's very dark, and there are a lot of deers. So you gotta be very careful. You can easily get lost if you don't know your way around, and I got lost my first time here. You gotta watch out for the deers, because your headlights basically like spotting deers with a spotlight, and it's illegal. But anyways, the deers will probably be right there in your face. If you're not careful, you're driving too fast, you're gonna hit one or two of them. Well, we're almost there. Well, here we are. I just parked my car. That's my car right here. And this is the building. This is actually the side entrance, and that's the entrance to the train club. There's quite a history behind it, this how we got here, and I will include all that in the narrative when we get down to where we are. I'll also tell you how I got into the club. That's another interesting scenario. So here we are. Well, here we are. This is the interior, the foyer of the museum, and the museum occupies the first floor and the second floor, and I think there might be a third floor. But we're downstairs in the basement, and there's another history of how we got into that basement. So stay tuned. All right, this is the way to the train place. I will give you a tour of the place after the narrative, but this is basically where I hang out. It's the Ocean County Society of Model Railroaders. And we have a pretty extensive set of libraries here. I mean, books for information, technical stuff, history, what have you. So here we go. Well, this is one of the rooms where I hang out. It's actually, I do hang out here quite a bit. The Model Railroader Club was started in 1987. It was located in a different location, also in Lakewood. It was actually in a church, an Episcopal church. And they were there for a number of years, and then finally they had to move to a larger facility, which is the current facility right here. And that was back in 2014. When they moved here, well, it was nice. The first couple of years was rent-free, but we had to fix up the downstairs on our own dime. Basically, when they came down here, this place was like zombie land. It was very decrepit. We walked down those stairs that we just came down to this level here. There would be a layer of fog. A layer of fog is up to your waistline. That's how bad it was. It was cold. It was moisture, and the whole place was just so unkempt, and it looked like the movies in the zombie land. And, people just didn't take care of it. No one was here. So when we came, obviously the town was happy to see someone's going to occupy this place and fix it up, which we did. And it took at least 2 years to get this place in shape. Well, when I take you on a tour of the facility, you will see how good it is now. But I also would point out some other interesting things about the structure of this building, actually the material. So since 1987, up until 2014, I think 2016 actually, it was basically an HO gauge train club and an O gauge train club. And the gauges differentiates the size of the locomotives and the passenger cars or the freight cars. There is a third one, which is the American Flyer. That's S gauge, but there was no S gauge. Anyway, I tell you how I got here. I got here one Veterans Day back in 2015 or 2000. Yeah, I think it was 2016 perhaps. It was Veterans Day. I decided to take up the office of a free breakfast at Denny's restaurant. It was 7 o'clock in the morning. Went over there. So there's some people. There was a line there, and we just waited and waited and waited. And I tell you, there was a guy standing next to me. He's a Navy veteran. I didn't know him, but we just stood there and waited. And there was a little commotion at the register. Some guy didn't want to pay for the coffee or something like that, and everybody got a little frustrated. The waitress got frustrated, and anyways, we offered to pay for the coffee, and the guy went. So anyways, the veteran and I just got to talk to each other and said, yeah, let's just sit down and chat a while and talk about our past history. We did, we talked about the usual, military stuff, and then, somehow we got into the topic of trains. I said, oh yeah, I deal with trains, and he said, yeah, he deals with trains. I said, oh, wonderful. Generally speaking, and train people are always very congeal, and it's just like in the military, most people are very congeal, and I could tell you more about that, about people later too. But anyways, so we sat down talking. He says, oh, yeah. He asked me, do you belong to a train club? I said, no, I don't belong to a train club. Is there one around here? And he said, oh yeah, absolutely. There's one in Lakewood. I said, really? Yeah, I perked up. And he says, when you come down, and we're open Tuesdays and Friday nights. So I said, okay, next night, next open night, I went down there. Obviously, I got lost because, it was very dark, and it took me a little while, but I found the place. I went down there, met the president of the club, Dennis, and he says, yeah, look around, see what you like, make yourself at home. I said, oh yeah, great, everybody welcomed me. It was nice, nice folks here, nice folks. So I looked around, and I said, okay, I'll come back again. I'll give it some good thought. I mean, looks good. Actually, the place at that time was half finished. I mean, it was cleaned up, but it was half finished. It didn't look like what it is now. So I went home. The next meeting day, I came down at night, and I said, oh yeah, it looks good. Yeah, I think I might want to join your club. What are the dues? He told me what the dues are, which is not bad. And so, okay, and I said, I'll come back the third time. I came back the third time. I gave it a thought. I looked up. I took some pictures, and I looked at it. I said, this is not going to work out. So I came down, and I said to Dennis, the president of the club, I says, I can't join your club. I says, why not? I can't run my trains down here. He says, what do you mean you can't run your trains down here? I says, well, you have only, at that time, I only saw that one room. He says, well, you have 3 tracks. You have 3-track trains. My American Flyer is to scale, and it's 2-track. So I can't run it. He says, oh, but I didn't tell him it was American Flyer. I just said 2 tracks. I said, oh, we have 2 tracks. It's in the other room. So, oh, okay. So I went to the other room across the hallway, and it was actually not S gauge, not American Flyer. It was HO, which is like half the size of the O gauge. And S gauge is somewhere between HO and O gauge. So I looked and said, oh, this is not going to work. So I came back to Dennis and says, I can make this work because those tracks are too narrow, too short. I mean, it's the wrong size. He says, are you kidding me? No. He says, what kind of trains do you run? I says, and I told him it's American Flyer S gauge. And they never had any American Flyer trains running in this club since 1987. Well, there's a piece of real estate in the O gauge section. It's a platform that would just put buildings there just for looks and what have you. It says you could have that piece of real estate, and it wasn't bad. It's probably like 20 feet by 10 or something like that. So which is good, But he says you have to put all the work into it. We'll supply the money to buy the tracks, whatever you need, but you have to supply the labor because we don't know anything about S gauge. I said, okay, no problem. And that's exactly how I got into the club. And I will show you what I did with some help from other folks. And I tell you, over the course of the next year, some of the folks came out of their closet, with American Flyer trains. This is, I haven't run this in 20 years. Can you fix this? Can you make this right? Yeah, I could do that. I do repairs. And I could the restorations too. So that's where we are now. And I could go on to the next narrative. The people here are very straightforward, honest, very friendly, and pretty much like some folks that I met when I was out in Camp Perry. Camp Perry is a military installation where I competed with in the President's 100. It's a high-power rifle competition. There's 240 shooting spots, and there were like 3,000 people competing. So it's 300 yards, 600, and then 1,000. And 1,000 is like, I can't even see the target, basically. That's how far it is. And all iron sights, no scope. And it was interesting. I've been there a few years, but, I have $1,000 worth of equipment in my ammunition, my weapons. And you leave it at, you leave it behind the firing line, because at some point in time, you have to put your time in to pull targets. In other words, you have to go down range and make sure the target, you pull targets up and down. When someone shoots, you have to mark it off. So we all take turns doing that. But I tell you, because of just like the trained folks here, people are very honest. They don't touch any of your stuff. I mean, that's great. In fact, I could tell you a story. Just like the folks here, there's one guy from Alabama. He's walking up and down Commercial Road. Commercial Roads where all the manufacturers sell their wares and at a discount for the competitors. So, it was late in the evening. A buddy of mine was walking down the Commercial Road, and there's one guy from Alabama, and he was like very distraught. I says, "Hey, buddy, what's wrong?" He says, "Well, I just lost my wallet." I says, "Well, you better call your credit card company." He said, "I don't carry credit cards. I have $3,000 or $4,000 of cash in my wallet, and I lost it." I said, "Holy Christ!" I said, "I tell you what. It's dark now. In the morning, there's a lost and found down the ways here. Go check with the lost and found." Well, okay. So night goes by. He comes back the next morning. We see him on Commercial Road again. He was happy as a lark. I said, "You found your wallet?" "Yeah, I found my wallet. And all the money's still there. Someone turned it in. They didn't take a penny out of the wallet." So that's the kind of people that, the trained folks are like too. And one of my trained guys, this is another incident. He manufactures reproduction parts. That's his business. But he inherited a cattle farm, a cattle ranch, down in southern Jersey. I think it's in Burlington County. We're in Lakewood, and I live in Manalapan, which is a little bit north. So it's about 45 minutes, half an hour, 45 minutes from where I live, and a little bit closer from here, Lakewood, to Burlington County. So he, inherited the ranch, the cattle ranch. Okay, but anyways, because he has a full-time job, he can't always be at the ranch. And I tell you, I guess I also learned from one of my a friend I don't see anymore. But anyway, she has a cattle ranch down in Texas, and ranchers help each other out. And there are folks down there that actually help him take care of the ranches and his cattle at his ranch. It's great. And in fact, I went down with him a few times, and along the ways there's flea markets, and they were selling vegetables and fruits and vegetables, mostly vegetables. And sometimes at the end of the weekend, the vegetables are not so. They would donate it to him, and we would bring it down to the cattle ranch and just feed the cattle with the veggies. They love the squashes and cabbage and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, lettuce. So anyways, that was interesting. Just to give you an idea what type of people are in the train world. Most of us are just like that too. We help each other out. And in fact, I could tell you, before I came to the club, I used to make up small train sets. Locomotives, some passenger cars, a caboose, train tracks, a little transformer, a very small one, but it operates, and the track runs like an oval, I guess like an egg shape or an oval shape. And I would make up 2 sets of these, sometimes 3. This is before the pandemic, and before I joined this club and before the pandemic. I would go down to leave my area and go into the urban cities like either Philadelphia or New York City on Thanksgiving morning. I would volunteer my time, at the soup kitchen. There are families with kids that come down there. At the time, it was safe. It was none of this, problems that we have now. It was very nice, and I would peruse the people who are there. And I see my family with kids. Guess what? They get a set of my trains. I donate the train set to them. And I showed them how to set it up and everything else, and I tell you, they're happy as anything. It was a good feeling, and I've done that for a number of years. But ever since the pandemic, I don't know what's happened to the soup kitchens, but I haven't gone back since then. Maybe sometime in the future I'll do it again. That's just me. I like to do that, and some people, I'm kind of generous in a way, but a lot of people take my generosity the wrong way. They think I'm up to something else. But anyways, that's who I am and what I am, and train folks here helped me out quite a bit too. I mean, after I started the American Flyer, some of the guys, they came out and they actually pitched in and says, let's do this, let's do that. Gave me some advice in terms of setting up the platform, which is interesting. But let me tell you also, the other thing is, when I was talking about doing my steps and walks to get in shape, which I lost 10, 12 pounds over the summer, which is great. I'm in very good shape now. The old gauge trains, I tell you, I need to go to the gym and work out with weights, because those trains are so damn heavy. I mean, it's like with the cars. These guys are bringing in suitcases. I mean, it's that heavy. And it's like, holy Christ. It's not like the American Fly, which is smaller, and I could put that in all the big giant toolbox and carry, toolbox with wheels and carry it. But these guys, their trains could be like, I don't know. The engine and the locomotive for one of them could be as long as 2.5 feet long, and it's all solid die-cast metal. Can you imagine? This is just the locomotive and the tender. So, anyways, that's what we do, and what else is there? Well, let's take a break. I'll come back in a minute. Stay tuned. Okay, we're back. I just wanted to say that my YouTube channel is, Doug Chung, American Flyer, Worldwide American Flyer, Model Railroaders. And true to the name of the title, it is a worldwide phenomenon. In fact, years ago, it was a hobby. It's for kids. You put your train around the Christmas tree, and that was it. But now it's become actually a real big business. I'm not into the business. I do repairs and restorations, and some folks actually would ask me to do stuff in it. But anyways, I want to point out to you that it is a worldwide phenomenon. There are train shows. I mean, one train show, just as an example, up in Amherst, West Springfield, Massachusetts. It's the Amherst Railroad Society that sponsors it every year. And the show is in like 5 gigantic buildings. I mean, literally big gigantic buildings. And there's one year, not too long ago, Saturday and Sunday. They only have a show for Saturday and Sunday in January once a year, one weekend a year. And that one weekend, there were people from Germany, England, Canada, from all over the United States. And I tell you, there were 24,000 people for that one weekend. And there's a whole section for little kids too, a whole room for kids. I mean, especially, geared for their interests. And there's another show down in York, Pennsylvania, just as big. And there's some in California. There's one in Dallas, Texas that I've been to, which is quite interesting, not too long ago. And let me say this now. If any of you are familiar with MarketWatch, which actually monitors all the up and coming industries, of different types of industry, doesn't matter what it is. If it's something of interest, they'll watch it. In fact, this past February, there was a little excerpt that came out from them, and they said that, the model railroad industry globally is coming to fruition to a point where it's big enough for them to actually watch. And they're going to actually watch this industry globally from here until the year 2028, and they'll come back and make an assessment, of whatever they do with the MarketWatch. So that's how it is. And I could tell you that, especially some of the vintage trains, could be quite expensive now. Something that cost $30 back in 1951 is probably like, could be like $2,000. It could be $500, only because of the rarity. And just think about this now. We have all kinds of natural disasters. We have forest fires in California, we have floods, we have hurricanes in Texas and flooding, and then we have Florida flooding and hurricanes. We have tornadoes in the Midwest, and we have all kinds of natural disasters, and homes get destroyed. And along with the homes that get destroyed, a lot of these trains, not just American Flyer, but all the other trains, all the brands, multiple brands, they're lost forever too. I mean, if they're vintage, well, it can't really be replaced, and that's a shame. So what we have now, we're trying to keep restoring and keep in good shape, and that's what I do. I do restoration, I do customization, and some basic repairs. I'm still learning. There's always a learning curve involved with something like this. And especially with the older trains, you can repair it, and you have to lubricate it. It's just like taking care of an automobile or an airplane. You have to keep the lubrication up. You have to adjust the rods. You have to change the brushes, the wiring. If it gets bad, you have to replace the wiring, the harnesses. There's a harness in actually the locomotives, believe it or not, in the old ones. So clean up the commutators and the armature. It's quite a bit of work. It's not just like, you put the train on a track and turn on the switch and it runs. Well, yeah, that's what you do, but you also have to put your time in, and I've learned that. And I can tell you that I have a manual that was passed down to me. This is a shop manual. It's actually a factory shop manual. That's how thick it is. It's heavy too. It has all the technical bulletins in here. I can't really show you all the pictures here, but and it has all the parts, the part numbers. And I brought this to a show one time, and someone offered $5,000 for this thing. You can't find one of these. My father got this for me somewhere way back when I was, younger. So, again, it's a service manual, but it has all the factory bulletins and all the updates. They have the discarded ones, they have the updated ones. There's actually prices in there too. You get something for like 5 cents for a part. Something that'll probably cost you like $5 today. Amazing. So everything from 1946 up until 1966. 1966, American Flight went out of business, and Lionel, which is a big train competitor, but they bought out the tooling, all the machinery from American Flyer, and they now make American Flyers, and but some of them are actually not bad, although they're not made in the United States anymore, they're made in China. But the modern trains can be operated remotely too. I will explain all this as we take the tour. I am going to show you an accessory. I'm not going to run this accessory. It's in one of my other YouTube, on my channel and another YouTube. It's the cattle farm. It's the operating cattle farm that was actually made by and devised by the owner and the founder of American Flyer, A.C. Gilbert Flyer. In fact, A.C. Gilbert is Albert, I think it's Albert C. Gilbert. And he was actually a Yale graduate from medical school, a surgeon, a promising surgeon, but also a magician. And he decided not to go into medicine. He went into inventing all kinds of trains and erector sets and things like that. I mean, all those interesting stuff that we see today. He had chemistry sets. But anyways, this cattle farm was made by him. It was designed by him and made by him. You know, not by his engineers. So I restored 2 of these. I have 1 original one. The 2 restorations I made, one went out to my Air Force veteran friend out in Iowa. He's a sheep rancher, so he has sheep. And the other one went to someone that I used to know in Texas, and she has that. I don't know if she's still interested in stuff like that, but anyways, haven't seen or talked to her in quite a while. But the sheep rancher I still keep in touch with, and he actually calls me every time for advice. And he actually took one of his barns and set up an entire setup for his trains. Well, he has the room out there. I mean, you know, he has an extra barn, I guess. You know, so I wish I did, but I don't. But anyway, hang on. I'm gonna open this up and show you the what the cattle farm looks like. Okay, this is what the cattle farm looks like. I don't have the cattle here. It's not hooked up, but basically this is an original. There were 2 types. One had the green platform, which is the one I restored. Those 2 that I restored, those 2 folks have it. The one woman girl in Texas has it, and the sheep farmer out in Iowa has one. And this is an original with a blue platform, which is somewhat rare. So I'm keeping this one, and it comes with the operating cattle boxcar, and that's the controls for it. Anyways, I won't delve too much into this, but it's all operated by solenoid and electricity. And I do have a separate YouTube video which you could look at your leisure, and it's quite interesting. You see the cattle. I won't give it away, but for those who are not familiar with it, watch those cattle. They actually move. Okay, here's the tour. This is the old gauge division, which is also the S gauge. We never updated the sign here, so it has O gauge and American Flyer. Here's an interesting sign. This is someone who visited Israel and took a picture of this, and we blew it up. And this is in Hebrew, Arabic, English, and something else there maybe. I'm not quite sure what, but basically you can see what it says in English. Don't cross the tracks. The sign was actually in front, at a railroad crossing. That's what it is. This is our big room. As you can see, it's quite extensive. Right now, what we're looking at is the old gauge section with all 4 tracks, and the room is probably like 35 feet long and maybe like 25 feet wide. The mural was done by one of our members. He did all that, the painting. He's actually a cake decorator for Wegmans. Otherwise, I love the sushi in Wegmans. So he did all that. Very talented. And then we have another guy who was very good in setting up the scenery with the bushes and everything else. Like, for example, right here. Did all that. And as far as the gravel around the track, the ballast, that was a combined effort by everybody. And up here is the American Flyer. I did all that. And that was the piece of real estate that was given to me. It says, you got to do it, and we'll give that to you. And that's what they did. I'm going to run this to show you how it works. It's run by a 30B transformer. This transformer is probably made in the mid-1950s. It's 300 watts, and it has 2 terminals. It runs both the left and the right, 2 tracks. And turn on the switch. The green light shows us power. The two red lights on the left and the right indicates, well, if it comes on, that means it's a short in on the track somewhere. And if there's a short, there's a circuit breaker in the transformer that cuts the power. It saves the train. The two levers you see, it actually mimics the actual train controls in the trains. When the motorman or the engineer, he has to keep pressing the lever down on the real train to keep it running. Let's say something happened, God forbid something happened, he passes out or whatever, and he falls down. Well, if he falls down, the lever automatically springs up and the train stops automatically. So this actually replicates that particular situation. So here we are. I'm going to, let's see, the right lever will control the inside track, and the left lever will control the outside track. So there are two tracks. That's the inside track. This is the outside track. So I'm going to run this. And this is the outside track. This is still the Christmas decoration as I built from Christmas. I will take the Christmas trains down. I'm going to leave the snow blizzard simulation up since it is still winter. All the cars are basically has a Christmas theme. American Flyer never commercially made any Christmas themed cars, so I had to actually concoct something and made up what we have here. You have to simulate the snow on the cars. You have Christmas packages, you have the Christmas trees. You have Santa Claus at the end of that car. So that's the whole layout. I do have a diesel O gauge, and I'm going to run this for you. This is run by a separate transformer. This is a Lionel, a Z4000 transformer, also very powerful. And each one of these run two tracks. So there's two transformers here, and it runs two trains each. So 4 tracks, 4 trains. And then we have other transformers down here, some remote controls down here. And these are the units that connects the power. I'm not quite sure how to do this, but we have some engineers in the club that are actually very good with the electronic hookup. So it's not as easy as it looks, but you know, they know what they're doing, for them it's easy, but for me, well, that'll be a learning process for me. They're very different from American Flyer. But anyways, I have a Lionel. This is a remote control, wireless, and also actually it has my diesel has a Bluetooth. Actually, some of the diesels have Bluetooth. You can run that off your cell phone. You don't need one of these. You can use your cell phone. Well, this particular one, I'm going to use this this remote. Gonna turn on the light. That's the power. I don't know if you can see it, but the switch on the top will indicate the speed, and you can run reverse, you can run forward. On the bottom left tab, you see a bell shape that rings the bell, and then on the right side is the horn. Actually, the locomotive has a horn, and the middle one, the bottom middle right here, that's for the engineer to talk to the dispatcher. So I am going to turn on the power to the track. It has the diesel sound, as you can hear. Well, end of the line. We're going to park this train on a side track, a siding. So we're going to reverse this train and park it back where it was originally. Slowly. And there you have it. That's the old gauge side. To continue with the tour, you've seen the library already, and this is the HO side. Actually, it's where I was broadcasting initially. This is quite an extensive layout. Here's the train yard. If you notice, these tracks are extensively small. They're half the size of the O gauge and actually smaller than the S gauge too. And I have some HO trains here. This is my locker right here. That's me. The way the HO size set this up, they're mimicking some of the towns around central Jersey. For example, here's Red Bank, and these are the buildings that simulates the replicas of the Red Bank town, the railroad stations. It's not finished yet, it's still in progress, but these are all handmade, and the tracks are laid down by hand. And this is all actually handmade. Look at this. This is the where they store the coal. Quite realistic. It's a bridge that's actually somewhere near here in Jersey. And Shark River drawbridge right there in Belmar. Belmar is not far from where I live, near the ocean. And you see the drawbridge in the bottom photo. And here's the replica of what you see in the picture. Quite interesting. And this is more of the Belmar, New Jersey area. This is Model 1. Here's the station house. Here's the station house. They have a hotel there. There's a pond here. So right now, there's 2 layers here. One on top, which is not finished, and one on the bottom. And it goes around the whole complex. Now I have to show the helix. The helix is a circular track that goes up and then it goes down. There's several levels. It's all connected. Each level is connected to the next level. Pretty much like in a parking lot. When you drive your car around. This goes up and then it comes back down again. And just to show you the depth of of what it looks like. That's how deep it is, or how high it is. And it goes around and it takes off on the top and it goes around to the other side. And there you have it, that's the HO. Now we're going to go to the wood shop and the repair room. And by the way, where I was sitting here, this is also the HO repair side. They have the test track up there we take down, and there's the control for the test track, magnifying glass, and more magnifying glass. So anyways, to the wood shop now. Through these double doors, we have an unfinished part of the building. We have our table saws, we have our circular saws, this is what we use to build up our platforms. And those platforms that you saw, we actually have several people standing on the platforms. It is strong as anything. It will hold hundreds and hundreds of pounds of weight. Well built. And I want to bring to your attention to what this place was like. The concrete here is something that puzzles me. I am well versed in industrial processes. I've been trained in industrial processes and foundry work, in my past life, and molten steel and concrete. And I tell you, the guys, I wasn't here, but the guys tell me that the concrete in this building, whatever it is, a stone, or I don't know what it is, and it's not just pure concrete. They have the heavy-duty drills trying to drill a hole into these walls. The drill just bounces back like a eel. It bends the drill bit. It comes right back out. We had to get the gas company with some of the heavy-duty commercial drills to drill some holes, and that's how we got the heating system up there. But even the engineers in our club, we can't figure out what kind of material this is. This is built, mind you, back in the 1920s. I have to say one thing though, this whole place is great to be a wood shop, but also is great to be a bomb shelter, a fallout shelter. We have extra lumber here. Here's a coal furnace. This is humongous. If I stand next to this furnace, my head comes up to about here. So you can see how big this is. It's not operating now. We don't use coal anymore, but that's what it was. Another part of the repair shop. We share this with the museum. So we got a lot of stuff here. Interesting saw here. I never seen one of these before. It's a radio saw. I don't know how to use this, but a couple of members in the club do know how to use it. The old Craftsman, they don't make this anymore, but it's in perfect shape, perfect operating shape. A little dirty, but it's in great shape. So it is a Craftsman radio saw. Yes, more equipment here. And we actually have a repair room for the American Flyer. I'll turn on a light here. There we go. An old Craftsman Dremel, a real powerful one. Very stuff. We have our two tracks here for the old gauge and the American Flyer. And you notice the tracks, the one on the top you see is the three rail old gauge tracks. Not too realistic. And the one on the bottom is the two rail with the flat, there's a flat top, just like the real McCoy. So when American Fly made these cars and the tracks, it simulates exactly what they have in real life. Even some of the cars, they say that the coal tender has 1,000 rivets in the car. American Fly would make the model with 1,000 rivets, simulated rivets, exactly 1,000. So everything is very real. A test transformer for the old gauge. And here's an old American Flyer smaller transformer for the American Fly gauge. We'll try to keep everything clean here. It's more tools and everything else. We have an air conditioner here. We have a heater down here. It gets cold down here. Dehumidifier. More Dremel accessories. And some other accessories here. So that's that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope this was a little bit enlightening for you. I hope it gave you some more information about what we do here and what the model train industry is like. Stay tuned for updates. And nothing too technical today, but I do have videos that I plan on showing you how to do some restoration, customizations, and basic repairs, basic maintenance. That's it. And thank you for looking. And if you're interested, you can subscribe to my channel and we'll keep you updated. I welcome all comments, good or very bad, doesn't matter. We're a very open forum here. So, yeah, take care, everybody. Thank you.